The mind of Alan Moore is one that loves to imagine alternative worlds, to conjure up alternate realities. He is an artistic satirist in the best sense of the word. His body of work looks at existing heroic tropes and subverts them by working them into the framework of real-life historical events, while simultaneously offering us a what-if scenario. His Watchmen saga, for example, deems that superheroes have become a reality between the 1940s and 1960s, post-World War II, into the burgeoning Cold War. They have interfered in world events and changed the course of history. By the mid-1980s, which is where Watchmen is set in the comic book world and the subsequent graphic novel, the superheroes therein are already veterans and victors of an old guard. Nixon is still in power in this alternate world, and the Americans, with the help of the interference of the Watchmen, have emerged victorious from the Vietnam War. Moore uses this fertile narrative ground to offer us an entertaining satire and critique of Western culture and where we have arrived at as a society. This essay will look at the original publication and the subsequent attempts to bring it to life on the big screen. Moore's Watchmen is a groundbreaking graphic novel, illustrated by Dave Gibbons and coloured by John Higgins, that deconstructs the superhero genre while weaving a complex multi-layered narrative set in an alternative 1985 where masked vigilantes have shaped history. The story unfolds in a world teetering on the brink of nuclear war between the United States and the Soviet Union. The narrative begins with the investigation of the murder of Edward Morgan Blake, revealed to be a government-sanctioned vigilante known as the Comedian. His death prompts another retired vigilante, Rorschach, to suspect a conspiracy targeting former costumed heroes. Rorschach warns his old colleagues, the technologically savvy Night Owl 2, Dan Dryberg, the emotionally distant and superhuman Dr. Manhattan, the pragmatic and calculating Ozymandias, Adrian Veidt, and the fiercely independent Silk Spectre 2, Laurie Uspeshik. As Rorschach delves deeper, the story interweaves the personal histories of the characters, exploring their motivations, relationships, and moral ambiguities. The key events include Dr. Manhattan's existential struggles as the only being with actual superpowers, Laurie's emotional journey as she uncovers the dark truth about her parentage, and Adrian Veidt's grandiose plans to save humanity. Veidt, revered as the smartest man in the world, orchestrated a scheme to avert global nuclear annihilation. His plan involves faking an alien invasion to unite humanity against a common enemy, thereby preventing World War III. Veidt executes his plan by teleporting a genetically engineered squid-like creature into New York City, killing millions instantly. When the remaining heroes confront Veidt, he reveals that his plan has already been carried out, leaving them with an impossible moral choice: expose his actions or risk reigniting global conflict, or remain silent and allow the world to believe the illusion. Ultimately, the group agrees to keep Veidt's secret, except for Rorschach, whose uncompromising moral code leads him to attempt to reveal the truth. Dr. Manhattan intervenes, killing Rorschach to maintain the fragile peace. Dr. Manhattan then departs Earth, leaving humanity to its uncertain future. In the final pages, Rorschach's journal, containing details of the conspiracy, is discovered by a small newspaper, leaving readers to wonder if the truth will emerge. Watchmen is both a deconstruction of superhero tropes and a meditation on power, morality, and the human condition. Its non-linear storytelling, richly detailed artwork, and intricate symbolism make it one of the most influential works in graphic literature. The work was first serialized as comics and then edited into a graphic novel. Moore had initially pitched taking peripheral DC comic book heroes and giving them a story of their own. DC, however, felt that this world would diminish the characters and somewhat limit their usefulness in potential future stories. They instead encouraged him to create original characters and world build from there. Zack Snyder's 2009 film Watchmen is a faithful yet condensed adaptation of Moore's groundbreaking novel. The film retains much of the original's dark tone, deconstruction of superhero tropes, and moral complexities, while making changes to the narrative to suit the cinematic medium. The story is set in an alternative 1985, where the United States and the Soviet Union are on the brink of nuclear war. Superheroes or costumed adventurers have been outlawed, and most former vigilantes are either retired or working in secret. The film opens with the murder of Edward Morgan Blake, also also known as the comedian, who was thrown from his high-rise apartment. Rorschach investigates Blake's death and discovers a conspiracy targeting former superheroes. He warns his associates of old, including Dan Droiberg, Laurie Jupiter, Adrian Veidt, and Dr. Manhattan. The narrative explores the backstories and motivations of these characters, revealing their complex personalities and moral ambiguities. Dr. Manhattan leaves Earth for Mars after being accused of causing cancer in those close to him. Laurie eventually convinces him to reconnect with humanity by revealing her own tragic origin. She is the daughter of Blake, who assaulted her mother. Rorschach and Night Owl uncover a plot masterminded by Adrian Veidt. Believing the world is on the verge of nuclear annihilation, Veidt devises a plan to unite humanity against a common enemy in the film. Veidt simulates a catastrophic attack using Dr. Manhattan's energy signature to create explosions in major cities worldwide, including New York. This is a slight variation from the graphic novel in an otherwise faithful adaptation. The heroes confront Veidt at his Antarctic base, only to discover that the plan has already been carried out. Millions have died, but the world is unified in fear of Dr. Manhattan, preventing nuclear war. Rorschach refuses to compromise and threatens to expose the truth. To preserve global peace, Dr. Manhattan kills Rorschach, then departs Earth to create life elsewhere. The film, as in the graphic novel, ends with Rorschach's journal detailing this conspiracy, and it is delivered to a small newspaper, leaving the possibility of the truth emerging. While the film is largely faithful to the material, the key change in Veidt's plan. In the graphic novel, he creates a fake alien invasion, whereas in the film he frames Dr. Manhattan. This alternation simplifies the story for a cinematic audience, while maintaining its central themes of morality, sacrifice, and the cost of peace. Snyder's Watchmen is visually striking, heavily stylized, and deeply rooted in the philosophical questions of its source material, offering a darker, more grounded take on the superhero genre. In 2019, HBO released a critically acclaimed limited series called Watchmen, which serves as a sequel to the original graphic novel by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. Set in an alternative 2019, the series explores the legacy of masked vigilantes in the United States, focusing on themes of systematic racism, white supremacy, and the impact of historical traumas. Key plot points include the Tulsa Race Massacre, present-day Tulsa, Chief Crawford's murder, Dr. Manhattan's return, Adrian Veidt's confinement, Lady Trieu's scheme, and a climactic confrontation. The series opens with a harrowing depiction of the real-life Tulsa Race Massacre, establishing a historical context for the racial tensions explored throughout the narrative. In 2019, masked police officers, including Detective Angela Abar, Sister Night, combat the white supremacist group known as the 7th Cavalry, who have adopted the ideology of the deceased vigilante Rorschach. The apparent lynching of police chief Judd Crawford propels Angela into the complex investigation, uncovering secrets about her own family, history, and the pervasive influence of the Cyclops organization, a clandestine white supremacist group. The enigmatic Dr. Manhattan, previously believed to be residing on Mars, is revealed to be living incognito as Angela's husband, Cal Abar. His presence becomes a focal point as various factions seek to harness his godlike powers. Adrian Veidt is shown in a mysterious captivity, orchestrating his escape, while his past actions continue to reverberate throughout the present. Billionaire Lady Trieu emerges with a plan to usurp Dr. Manhattan's abilities, aiming to create a utopian society under her control. The series culminates in a confrontation involving Angela, the 7th Cavalry, Lady Trieu, and Dr. Manhattan, leading to a resolution that addresses the complex interplay of power, legacy, and injustice. The series received critical acclaim for its writing, performances, and its bold exploration of contemporary social issues, earning a place among the best limited series of all time. There have also been 2 further movies, a part 1 and 2 of the Watchmen saga, but in animated form. Watchmen is a 2-part animated adaptation of the acclaimed graphic novel by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, directed by Brandon Vietti and scripted by Michael J. Straczynski. The films were released in 2024. Chapter 1 was released on August 13, 2024, set in an alternative 1985 USA. The story begins with the murder of the comedian, a government-sponsored superhero. Rorschach, an active vigilante, investigates the crime, suspecting a conspiracy targeting former superheroes. As he warns his retired colleagues Dan Droiberg, Laurie Jupiter, and Dr. Manhattan, they grapple with their pasts and the implications of returning to a society that has outlawed them. The narrative delves into their complex relationships and the moral dilemmas they face in a world teetering on the brink of nuclear war. Chapter 2 was released in November 24. Following Rorschach's imprisonment, Dan and Laurie decide to don their costumes again to break him out, believing in the conspiracy he uncovered. Meanwhile, Dr. Manhattan transports Laurie to Mars, where they engage in a profound discussion about humanity and destiny. As the investigation deepens, the superheroes uncover a complex plot orchestrated by one of their own, aiming to unite humanity through a catastrophic event. The film explores the themes of power, sacrifice, and the ethical complexities of vigilantism, culminating in a morally ambiguous resolution that questions the very nature of heroism. Both films strive to faithfully replicate the intricate narrative and visual style of the original graphic novel, offering a comprehensive exploration of its mature themes and complex characters. The animation closely mirrors the original artwork, and the voice performances aim to bring new emotional depth to the story, with two of the main characters being voiced by the brilliant Matthew Rhys and Titus Welliver. This rendering of the Watchmen saga really does try to be as faithful to the original source material as possible, while bringing it to an audience who increasingly consume content on their phones and laptops. Moore has written other content which is well worth checking out. In the mid-noughties, the movie V for Vendetta was released, starring Natalie Portman and directed by John McTague. Moore had penned the original graphic novel. Moore also wrote the graphic novel Batman the Killing Joke, and while much of his work has been adapted for the screen, we should never overlook the cultural importance and impact of the graphic novel genre and medium. Movies like Waltz with Bashir and Sin City, while highly stylistic movies, had their original rendering in the graphic novel format. Art Spiegelman's Mouse is also essential reading for those interested in history, precedent, and the larger context of graphic art in this unique format. There is a rich pantheon of literature and art to be explored that critique our society and in some way offer us a more thoughtful reflection on modern discourse, displayed across a beautifully artistic canvas. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for notifications. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.